Coming Down is proudly sponsored by Colorado Ganja Gear, high-quality, artistically inspired herb grinders. So let me tell you, these things are great. I actually own one. My favorite part is the perfect consistency you get after grinding. Some grinders just pulverize your herb into dust, but the razor-sharp teeth and smooth action on these always leave you with perfect, fluffy, evenly ground herb. The craftsmanship is top-notch, made from aircraft-grade aluminum, to guarantee you won't get metal shavings mixed into your herb. But the best part, truly, is each grinder features original artwork created by Colorado artist Lori Beatty. She creates unique mandalas that are laser-etched into each magnetic lid. And each grinder comes in a silk bag and has free shipping. So just go to etsy.com/shop/Colorado Ganja Gear and enter the code COMINGDOWN in all caps for $5 off, or go to the show notes for this episode and follow the link. Thanks and enjoy the episode.
Hey everybody, welcome to Coming Down. My name is Matthew, joined here by my co-host Nathan.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Yeah.
I hope you can understand us as we talk through our masks,
yes.
Through our virus masks.
We're currently swaddled in hazmat suits.
Yep. Yeah, they're putting up plastic sheeting outside my house.
Oh yeah, it's like the scene out of E.T., you know?
Yeah, man. Fuck, it's been a wild week watching
really
this all ramp up. We were chatting about this a little before we sat down here, but I think it bears kind of rehashing again.
Oh, fucking A, man. I mean, it's it's rare that you get to see a pandemic in its early phases, you know?
Yeah, for real. And it's definitely, boy, it's just gone through all these phases of like, at first it was no big deal and it seemed like everyone had it under control. I remember reading early reports of like, oh, they had the virus mapped like days in, and that vaccines were like on their way. And
yeah, if you mentioned anything about like, well, fuck, we gotta like keep an eye on this one, people were like, oh no, like that's, I mean, like that's just China, you know? And I'm like,
right,
no, that's not what the CDC is saying, but
right. Well, and the CDC has been, I don't know, less than helpful, and WHO has been less than helpful. So
I mean, Trump fired the entire pandemic teams from
right.
from the CDC. So I mean, like, they've been doing the best they can.
Right. Yeah, totally, man. Ugh, man. Try not to talk about it. American politics in relation to all of this, but boy, it's been a real fucking... That's what makes it a little scary here in America. Like, I think we're fine, but knowing that Trump and Pence are at the head of this thing, trying to... Not the head of this thing. There's a lot of other hardworking people who are working on this, but just knowing they're involved at all.
Yeah, watching Chad Wolf give his deposition to the Senate was less than whelming.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, it's been interesting because now all the reports are like vaccines aren't anywhere close and we don't know what the fuck's going on, and people are getting welded into their homes in China, and it's just wild. Dude,
the shit in China is particularly dystopian. Like the loudspeakers on the corners saying no one's allowed to leave their houses. Like, yeah. That's definitely alarming.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, and we're gonna start to see all the trickle down effects from this. Like, goods are not coming in and out of China right now, and other places we'll see that as well. Like, just watching how fast it went in Italy too. Yeah, I mean, obviously the whole country is not on lockdown, but some spots in Italy are, and it went from 0 to 60 in a weekend. For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been wild. So, and look, I am not a super paranoid person, and I'm not ultra worried about this, but, hey, everyone, just go get a bunch of canned goods and some extra food for your pets and some, some extra toilet paper and stuff.
God help you if you didn't already buy toilet paper, because you can't.
Yeah, I was at the grocery store last night, and they were cleaned out of bleach. There were about 10 things of toilet paper left, and hand soap was gone. All the disinfectant wipes were gone. Hand sanitizer obviously was gone. Yeah, just a lot of stuff was cleared out. Water was pretty much gone except for some jugs of distilled. Yeah. So
it's there's definitely a minor mercantile panic happening right now.
For sure. And with maybe good reason. Maybe panic, maybe there's no good reason for panic, but look, prepping I think is fine.
Sure. I'm not going to argue, but I feel like it's just more important to wash your hands and not touch your face. If you're doing those two things, you're already way ahead of the game.
For sure.
And, you know, there already are shortages on things, but, like, that's panic-induced, you know? If people actually needed to stock up on those things, like, maybe I'd be a little more worried about it.
Yeah, totally. I went and got a bunch of stuff just in case. I don't know.
I ordered toilet paper from Amazon because there's none in the store.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
You know.
Oh, man. It's fucking crazy.
It really is.
But yeah, I just don't know. I mean, you know, we could see like a lot of services go down, you know, like public transit, and see some closures of certain things, and that'll be pretty disruptive.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I work in a public building that, you know, is for large public gatherings, so I mean there's a real possibility that could end up shut down, but I mean they're not closing schools, they're not doing anything else right now, so
no, not yet, so yeah.
You know, give it another week and then we'll check in.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Boy, you know, we joke now, but yeah, next week's intro might be a little weird.
I know. I'm looking forward to it. You know, these are strange times.
No kidding, man.
But, you know, our president has assured us that by April it's all just going to drift away with the warm weather, so I'm optimistic.
Oh, yeah. Wasn't he saying that all this stuff was, like, hype designed to try and fuck up his campaign as well?
Oh, yeah. The Democrats are just politicizing this. You know?
Yep.
And he has it on good authority that when the weather warms up, it'll all just miraculously disappear.
Good authority. Love it. Well, man, what else has been going on?
Dude, so I've been watching The Outsider. Are you in on this?
Oh, is that the HBO horror show?
Yeah, it's a book written by Stephen King.
Okay.
It's one of his bestsellers. And it's just classic Stephen King supernatural horror. But, dude, the photography, like the fucking cinematography and everything is... Like, you could take some of these fucking shots and frame them and put them on your wall. It is so good.
Cool. Okay, yeah, I've kind of heard some mixed reviews, but you're giving a ringing endorsement, so...
I mean, like... It's one of those Stephen King tales where, like, you really got to suspend some of your disbelief because he gets into mythology and folklore and shit.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those things where, you know, one character says to the other, until you, like, you know, let go, you're not going to get anywhere. And it's like, yeah, okay. He even wrote us into the book because we're all sitting here going, well, I mean, clearly this is all bullshit, right? But it's happening to people. So, like, there is some of that. But fuck, man. I mean, like, there's some really good actors on that show.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. The cast looks cool.
Yeah,
cool. All right. Yeah, I've been meaning to check that out, so I'll move that up on the list a little bit.
It's good shit. I mean, I know you love Stephen King, and it's.
I've got a mixed relationship with Stephen King. Sometimes I love what he does, and sometimes I'm just like, this is too Stephen King for me.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, the guy, to his credit, he, you know, part of his success is that he's willing to throw anything at the wall and see if it sticks.
For sure.
And because he's been so successful, after a certain point in his career, there's not much that doesn't stick. So, like, you know, you for every fucking Shining, there's also Insomnia, you know? Like,
yeah. Or like Needful Things. Man, I read all 1,000 pages of that book, and it was terrible.
It was not great, was it?
No, it really wasn't.
And that's not even his worst fucking story.
Not even close. Yeah. So, but he's got good stuff. Really interesting to see this whole Stephen King kind of renaissance now. There's so much stuff.
Absolutely.
A lot of his stuff is getting made into movies and TV shows. There's like the Castle Rock show, which is just something he didn't write, but it's all based on his lore, you know?
Well, I love it. You know, I mean, like, his whole thing was just kind of trying to, like, continue the vein of Lovecraft, but through a more modern lens, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, the Tommyknockers is just fucking torn straight out of Lovecraft, you know?
Right.
And it's one of his best fucking stories.
Totally.
So, you know, I'm all for, like, getting the hidden gems of Stephen King's back catalog, like, turned into adaptations.
Yeah, I'm with it, too. And, yeah, I like seeing... Well, and I like some of his less horror stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Shawshank and Green Mile and stuff.
And fucking Stand By Me? Like,
yeah,
goddamn.
Yeah, it's cool.
Excuse me. I'm just trying to spread my fucking
Whoa. Yeah.
Patient zero over here.
Yeah, I'm going to put up some plexiglass between us here.
It's cool. I'm covering my cough with my elbow and I'm washing my hands.
Yes.
So you're safe.
Okay, I feel safe.
Got our little PSA going here.
I feel safe. Yeah, man, I don't have anything to report on this week. Boy, just been regular stuff. Fuck, yeah, I went and saw some horror movies. The Invisible Man was good.
Oh, cool.
Went and saw this movie called The Lodge. And, like, holy fuck, that is a dark movie. If you want to see some really twisted shit. But, you know, psychological. I mean, there's no real horror moment in the movie. It's just fucked up.
Rad.
Yeah, so that's good shit. But, yeah, it's been just business as usual.
Word. I started rereading The Expanse.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, I'm almost completely done with the first book.
Beautiful. Well, by the time you finish up, the final book should probably be dropping.
I mean, that's the plan.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I'm kind of glad I started now.
Legit.
Yeah, I'm really excited about getting... Like, I feel like the first book, it has most of the tone of the rest of the series, but it's, like, kind of split between this, like, detective noir and space opera story.
Right.
And then, like, the second book, like, just kind of catapults you right into, like, what the rest of the series is. You know?
Big space, expansive, like, yeah, it's cool.
It gets...
I almost didn't
real gnarly.
Get through book one because it just wasn't totally what I was after.
Dude, it takes half the book to even expose, like, what the rest of the stories are actually about.
Also, you just have to accept a lot of space magic stuff.
Yeah.
That I sort of was... For how much attention to detail they pay with, like, physics and, you know, and just how things operate in space. But then there's just this other stuff that they're fine with. Just thrown at you, and you're just like, all right. I accept.
I know.
I accept. But you know, but I did get through that book, and then I think it just gets way better after that.
Well, especially once they get through, like, all of the fucking Resident Evil kind of shit. Like,
yeah,
you kind of got to slog through some of that in the second book too, where it's like, oh, now they're like really strong and really fast. And it's like, oh, totally. God damn it. Is that what this is going to be? And it's not. You know, they were just trying that on for the second book.
Yeah.
And then they figured out, like, why people liked it on the third one and, like, just ran with it. So,
yeah.
You know.
I started Way of Kings. So, dear Matt, thank you for buying me that book a year ago. I'm finally starting to read it.
Dude, I like everything from Brandon Sanderson that I've read. But I didn't realize how much of a badass he was until I started reading The Way of Kings.
Yeah, I'm not deep at all, and this book is lit.
It's so fucking lit. Yeah.
It just starts, like, the prologue is, like, two gods discussing, or, like, two demigods discussing, like, their fate and just deciding to, like, fuck all of the humans and, like, we're going off on our own path. And yeah, it's fucking cool. And that's just the prologue, and then it just goes from there. So,
well, and his take on mental illness in this series is really profound. So
cool.
You know, it's a sweeping fucking epic with a lot of, like, deep personal shit built into it.
Cool.
Which is kind of a great cocktail. You know?
I will keep that in mind as I continue reading. So
yeah,
I'm stoked. Well, I'm glad that we all have a lot of entertainment under us, because if we can't leave our house soon,
right?
We at least know what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, and you know, to our listeners, if you want a good reading list, like, I feel like we can definitely deliver that. So hit us up if you want to know some good stuff to do while you're fucking quarantined.
Oh yeah, where might they hit us up?
Oh, Segway!
King of Segways back for 2 weeks in a row.
Yes, if you would like to hit us up, that is at Coming Down Pod on Twitter, or you can also email us at comingdownpod@gmail.com. If you'd like to be on the show, hit us up there. Also, we would just love to hear what you have to say, so please give us a message. Also, you can find links to those, as well as all the platforms that we're on, and show notes at comingdownpod.com. If I get my shit together, we will definitely have some show notes for this series.
Okay.
Like I said, I got a whole lunchbox full of fucking trinkets that we can take photos of and stuff. So,
well, if they don't show up right away, definitely check back on show notes because we do add stuff to the backlogs sometimes.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and if you haven't checked out the show notes for any of our past episodes, there's a ton of good stuff there, especially for our most recent guest episodes. So definitely check that out. Also on comingdownpod.com, you'll find links to our Patreon. And just a huge shout out and a big thank you to everyone who's already donated there. We really appreciate you. You guys help us keep the lights on, and we cannot thank you enough.
Hell yeah.
And that Patreon can be found at patreon.com/comingdownpod. Beyond that, if you'd like to give us a rate and review, hit us up on Stitcher. We could really use that visibility.
Damn right.
Other than that, let's go! So yeah, like, you know, Little Beach is fucking amazing. But definitely one of the best days of my life. Right there.
Little Beach is fucking amazing. Fucking on the Little Beach is amazing.
Yeah, man.
Something like that.
Absolutely. You know, good times were had by all. You know, we hitchhiked. Shit. Did we? I'm not exactly sure if we hitchhiked back to. I want to say let's just say we hitchhiked back to Baldwin Beach. And at some point, like, we bumped into Otter and Jesse, and they were like, yo, you guys got to come swim with dolphins. And, like, you know, we'd already heard this story about Wolf, like, getting saved by dolphins when he was all fucking blind, like, swimming around and shit. And so we were like, yeah. Wait, how do we do that? And he's like, well, we're gonna drive around to Cowpo. Or no, I'm sorry, not Cowpo. La Perouse, which is, like, this bay that's further south of Big Beach. It's like past McKenna, like on your way to Cowpo on the super dry side of the island. It's like you're past where the cactus is at this point. It's just fucking like rocks and shit, you know, like there's nothing out there. At least there wasn't back then. Now it's like everything has changed, you know. There's like greenery out there now.
Yeah, wild.
But, yeah, you know, such as climate change. But yeah, so yeah, I want to say it was like nighttime or like evening or something in Paia. And we like pack up our shit into this fucking beat blue pickup truck. Like, I want to say you could look at this thing and tell that its alignment was off. You know, it was,
yeah, right.
It was what we call a Maui beater, and it was definitely not clear that we were going to be able to get to where we were going, but we were like, fuck it, it's going to be an adventure, right?
Yeah, right, and, whatever.
You know, so we're like driving south toward Kihei, and like we're on the highway out in the middle of the fucking cane fields and shit, and like the thing just stalls while it's rolling.
Who owned this thing?
I believe Jesse technically had ownership. But it was basically just kind of like Otter, Jesse, and Autumn, and like their little crew, like all just kind of jointly owned this vehicle. And interestingly enough, I don't remember exactly when we got this story, but they acquired it from a gentleman outside of a bar in, I want to say Lahaina, could have been Hana, but it doesn't matter. It was just like some fucking blue collar bar, and like they're either in the bar or outside the bar. I think they were outside the bar smoking, and like this guy's like talking shit about this truck, and they're like, hey man, you want to sell that truck? And he's like, tell you what, I'll give it to you for free, but you gotta let me take a piss on it first.
Whoa.
And they were like, okay, that's weird, but we'll take a free truck.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, cool, and whips it out, and he's like really aggressively taking a piss on this truck. And they're like, okay, dude, all right. I think you're done now, though. Like, yeah, you don't need to get piss all over everything that we want to use. Like,
yeah, right.
He's like, fuck this fucking truck.
Oh, wow.
And at first they were like, okay, that was really dramatic. But, you know, after an hour or so of driving this fucking thing, they were like, oh,
They're pissing on the truck.
this thing's a piece of shit. And so they started calling it the Blue Meanie.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, it stalled out while we were driving, and like Jesse just like turns the ignition off and he like counts down from like 15 or something, and then like tries to start it again. It doesn't work, and we're still just rolling. And he like counts down from again, and then like tries to start it, and this time it starts up. You know, and we, like, keep going.
That's hilarious.
Holy fuck, dude! Like it was always a dice roll with this fucking truck. You know, if it was even gonna start.
Yeah.
And then once you got it rolling, like,
Yeah.
who knew exactly how long it would remain rolling?
That's so funny.
But it was a free pickup. Like, you know, they
Right.
they never put that much gas in it because, you know, who knows how much longer you're going to be able to drive the
Yeah, I
fucking
can't
thing.
fill the tank. Wouldn't want to lose half a tank.
Never fill the tank, you
Yeah.
know, like you put in like $5 and call it good, you know. And so yeah, we eventually we get to La Perouse, and it's this really kind of picturesque drive coming in. Like this guy's got this fucking big jetty that his like house abuts next to, and it's got like this row of palm trees with Christmas lights in them, and it looks super picturesque.
Nice.
Driving up, and you like head around the drive past that house, and you go down into the state park there. And you know, at first we were just kind of like, wait a minute, like we're just gonna roll into a place at night and camp out? Like, that's weird, right? And he's like, I know, it seems kind of weird, but like, and we're not gonna build any fire or anything, like we're just gonna like pitch our tents and crash. And we're like, okay, cool, I guess. You know, he's like, well, the whole reason is that you gotta wake up with the sun. Like, we're trying to get up at dawn. And we're like, oh, well, shit, that's not far off. And he's like, yeah, exactly. So we're basically just going to take a little nap in the tent and then wake up and then get in. And we're like, fuck it, okay, cool. And so we pass out. And then, you know, I certainly would wake up with the faintest of light at this point in my life. But, you know, back then I was a little better at sleeping. So we woke up to a rustling on our tent, like, hey, are you guys awake? And we're like, no. I mean, yeah. What's up? Well, come on, get up. It's time to go. And we're like, all right. So, you know, we just kind of like got into our swim gear and like crawl out of the tent. Sure enough, sun's not even up yet. It's just kind of peeking above the horizon. Well, not even the horizon, because the fucking mountains in between us and the western horizon. But
Oh shit, yeah.
or eastern horizon. But yeah, we can see that there's definitely light on the other side of the island, and it's making things start to lighten up on our side. And so we're like, all right, cool. And like we just kind of like ate some Cliff Bars and like smoked a cigarette or whatever, and like smoked a bowl and fucking got our heads together. And then it's like, all right, get in the ocean. Okay. And so we hop in and we swim out, and
the ocean's just like warm.
it's bathwater. Yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what time of year. Like,
That's awesome.
even in the wintertime, it's the ocean. The water's like probably 65 to 70 degrees, depending
that's
on
awesome.
where you are. You
God,
know,
that's amazing.
it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, like it's even on the like kind of cool rainy days that I had this last trip that I took to Maui, you get in the water and you don't care.
Yeah.
You know, like it was harder to get out of the water than it was to get in on those cold
interesting.
days. You know. So yeah, we get in and we're like swimming out, and we get out to the mouth of the bay there, and there's nothing happening. You know, it's just like mostly flat ocean and like maybe a little bit of wave action, but it was real small. And so we're just kind of treading water, just like hanging out. But I mean, like, oh no, like you're swimming in fucking tropical ocean, like bummer, you know?
Right.
And we're just kind of like, okay, well, you know, I was told there would be dolphins, and then there's a fin,
Oh shit.
and then they're jumping out of the water, and then they're doing flips, and then they're swimming in circles around us, and we're just like, what the fuck is going on, you guys?
Whoa.
It's fucking dolphins.
That's cool.
Oh, I might have been naked. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, and so, like, you know, I didn't, like, do any kind of, like, TV show flipper shit, because that's a bit much. You know, these dolphins didn't even know us. I'm not going to, like, start groping them.
You didn't do a Ian Anderson style, like, one-legged flute solo as they, like, carry you off into the fucking...
I can neither confirm nor deny these allegations. But no, I mean, like, you know, I definitely, like, touched dolphin skin. Like, you know, the one or two of them rubbed up against me at some fucking point.
Yeah, that's cool, like, as hell.
You know, it was just kind of cool being in the water with the dolphins and, like, swimming around and, like, waving at them and, like, you know, fucking they're doing jumps and flips all over the fucking place. Whoa. You know, it was dope.
That is way cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. And well worth the trip. And so we're out there for like maybe 20 minutes or so, just cavorting in the sea, and then you see these fucking kayaks come around the point, and all of a sudden there's all these fucking tourists taking pictures of the dolphins, and like, we're like, yeah, and it's time for us to fucking go, because fuck this noise.
Right.
You know? And so we come in, and I'm like, God, what the fuck is that all about? And they're like, oh, that's why you have to get here at dawn.
Yeah.
Is because the tourists know that the fucking dolphins show up here too. Right. But if you get here early enough, you can be the first one in the water with them. And I'm like, well, fucking thank you. That's amazing.
Hell yeah.
And on my way back in, I stepped on a sea urchin.
Oof.
Which is why I highly recommend investing in some kind of aqua socks or like water shoes or even just fucking rafting sandals if you're going to just be splashing around in tide pools in Maui, because here the sea urchins pretty fucking mellow. Like, who gives a shit? Besides, you're not walking around barefoot in tide pools in Oregon.
No.
There, the urchins are significantly more aggressive. Like, their toxin isn't necessarily going to kill you. Like, I don't know why we were so concerned about it, because I'm pretty sure it's not deadly.
Yeah.
No, I could be mistaken. You know, and listeners at home, if I am mistaken, please give us the business.
Yeah, but I've heard of... I haven't heard of too many sea urchins that are deadly.
No.
But yeah.
But I definitely, like, could feel it, and it really hurt. And it, you know, it started to feel like fire crawling up my leg. And
shit.
I was kind of like, oh, fuck. Do I need to go to a hospital? And Jessica's like, I got this. And she fucking puts some water in her mouth and starts fucking sucking on my toe and spitting out the water and, like, doing that over and over again, which is apparently how you can deal with some snake bites. And, you know, to her credit, I did start feeling better. I don't know if it's just that the toxin wasn't that bad, or that I was, like, mostly freaking out, or if she really just sucked the fucking poison out of my toe.
Yeah.
But, like, one way or another, I started feeling better. I mean, like, I was still kind of limping and it hurt. And it was like this weird combination of numbness and pain, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But, you know, I couldn't actually feel anything in the toe. But then, like, the rest of my nervous system around it was, like, doing flares of pain.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, wild.
Moral of the story is, A, watch where you step.
Yeah.
B, don't fucking step on a sea urchin.
She didn't piss on it?
Oh, no, that's right. She, wait, did she piss on it?
I mean...
This has been lost to the sands of time.
It didn't help, or it didn't have anything to do with the sea urchin, but...
No, I mean... You know, I wouldn't have minded one way or the other.
Win in Maui.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I don't remember her pissing on my toe. Let's put it that way. Is that doesn't work though, does it?
I don't know. Supposedly it does with some jellyfish.
Yeah,
but it's
okay,
like some, not many.
That's what I thought. Yeah, okay. No, and jellyfish never fucked with us, thankfully. I mean, there's fucking been man wars around Hawaii. So,
sure.
You know,
yeah.
It's definitely a concern, but yeah, we never got stung, thankfully. So got to fucking swim with dolphins, and it was amazing.
That is super fucking cool, man.
Hell yeah. So, after that, we, of course, headed back to Paia.
Did you ever take any other, like, boats out and see any other ocean life? Did you ever see whales and or any shit like that?
We didn't actually do a whole lot of, like, really hardcore tourist stuff. When I went back with my folks in 2001, we definitely did some dive boats, like taking us out to dive spots that you could only get to with boats. And we saw plenty of whales. Like, actually got in the water with a humpback that was, like, literally next to me.
Whoa.
I mean, it touched me with its fucking tail.
Whoa.
And thankfully it was cognizant enough of like how big I was relative to its size that it just kind of flicked me a little bit and like shoved me about 10 feet underwater.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it really could have fucked me up, but like it just like kind of silently glided over me and then like did a little tail flick at the end and
a little thump.
Yeah, just a little. And like I was like, weird, I'm strangely deep underwater instead of next to the surface as I was before.
Whoa.
This must be a powerful animal.
Yeah.
But beyond the dolphin that we saw at the beach that night, we didn't see any other ones. But God, and it was close to the end of our stay in Paia. Like we came back after La Perouse, and shit. Oh, right. Yeah, okay, sorry. So, I'm not sure if it was the same, like, week or if it was later, but eventually we took another ride in the fucking Blue Meanie, and we went down to Calpo, which I talked about is like, further south of La Perouse, and we went to a rave in a cave there.
Sick.
And it was one of the better outdoor raves that I've been to. It wasn't exactly my favorite style of trance, but it was a trance party, which was like my favorite shit back then.
Yeah.
It was a Goa party, so it was like really intense, fucking super. Like, are you familiar with Goa trance?
Not like, exactly.
It's also like been described as psytrance, but Goa is like a specific like subset of psytrance that's like really insectile and weird.
Okay.
Anyway,
sure.
I think there's even like a track called like March of the Ants or something like that was like one of the tracks that they played that night that I was like, this sounds like insectile armies, and like turns out like literally it's called March of the Ants.
That's they're going for.
Yeah,
nice.
it was fucking sick. But you know, unfortunately, like I don't know if it was like the drugs that we were on or what, but Jay couldn't really handle it. Like she was just like, dude, you keep going, I'm gonna curl up into a ball and sleep in this little fucking crevice in the cave. And I'm like, you're gonna go to sleep on mushrooms right now? She's like, yup.
With a rave going on?
Yup. I'm like, Jesus, all right. And you know, I like after a while I was kind of like, all right, I mean, like I'm gonna admit that this music is too intense for me right now.
Yeah.
Like, so I went out and I sat on the shore, and it's crazy. The wave action there, the swell is about 10 feet tall, and it's fucking shore break. Like the waves come in and they fucking smash on the rocks like 10 feet tall.
Whoa.
And the shore there is a bunch of like cannonball size rocks that are all roughly perfectly round, and the fucking ocean grabs them and tries to pull them in, and like they just grind on each other and make this really low rumbling sound.
Whoa.
So it's like this massive wave. You feel the shock of it smashing into all of these rocks, and then it's like dragging down on them. It's
whoa.
Even when you're not on mushrooms, it's pretty fucking cool. But like,
I bet.
When you're that high late at night and like, you know, the full moon's like lighting up these fucking silvery ass waves, it's, dude, wow, it's some powerful fucking medicine.
Oh, I bet, man. Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it was rad. And like I had this whole like,
what creates the round rocks? Just the way that
wave action.
Oh, okay.
Just the stones being turned against each other like rounds them all.
Whoa.
At least that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool. I definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I just kind of had this weird introspective trip at that point, like taking stock of my life and like what's going on with me and Jess, and like you know, just like that was kind of the first time that I like had this taken a step back from this whole like fairy tale perspective on our relationship, and like just recognizing that there might like eventually come an end to it, and that like we might not be fucking soulmates, and like you know,
that's some hard shit to start to grapple with.
Absolutely. But Jesus, was it healthy? You know, like it like kind of helped me like start getting some perspective on like just how we worked, and like, you know, just not taking everything so fucking personally or so seriously, and like recognizing that I'm just fucking 19 or 20 or however old I was at the time.
Yeah.
And that like it doesn't have to be like life or death fucking serious all the time. Like,
right.
we're just out here having fun.
Well, because you guys were like cranked to 11.
Oh yeah, the synchronicity storm, all that shit, dude.
Right.
Yeah, like we thought that we were like in this fucking like thing that was going to change the world somehow, you know, and that we needed to be really aware of it and like figure it out. And I'm just like, man, you know, like we really are just like here to have fun and like make some memories. And if that's getting soured or weird, like maybe that's it's okay to pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And like figure out what that is instead of just hurriedly trying to push that to the back of my mind every time I think of it, you know?
Yeah, right.
Because that's kind of what I was doing, is just like, nope, this is meant to be, like, don't fucking think about that shit, you know, like, that's negative, like, oh, you know?
Right.
And so, like, it was this really healthy moment, you know, and, like, I'm glad that it happened because, you know, sometime later when, like, she started the conversation of, like, maybe we shouldn't be together anymore, like, I already had, like, thought about that a little bit instead of just pretending that wasn't there, you know?
Right. Yeah, or let it just sort of like consume you in that moment. Like,
yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I was just kind of like staring at the moon, listening to these fucking waves, and I'm just like, man, I'm cool as fuck. Like I'm here, I'm doing this. Like I don't need to like worry about my destiny being tied to anyone else's. Like, you know, like the future is my own. I can make of it what I want. Like,
right.
I'm not trapped in anything, you know, like just because I think that this is like this storybook fucking fairy tale shit doesn't mean that I know the ending, you know?
Right. Totally.
It was cool. I'm really happy. Like at first I was super bummed that she didn't want to fucking hang out and party and watch Shaggy fucking lose his mind on mushrooms because like, oh my God, was that a fucking thing? Holy shit. Like, the guy never stopped talking anyway, but, like, once the mushrooms grabbed hold of his language centers, like, and he's in the middle of some fucking psytrance, it was like, Shaggy's on some mushrooms! I won't try to butcher the art that he was making with his voice that night, but it was truly something else, and I'm happy that I was there for it.
Yeah.
I don't know where you are now, Shaggy, but I hope that someone's taking care of you. Yeah, so that was the rave. After that, we ended up getting picked up by some guy on our way back from Lahaina. It was when we were living in Paia, but we got a ride back from Lahaina from this guy, and we were just like talking about the magic of Maui, you know, like telling Thor's story about, you know, just a normal day on Maui, like you know, finding everything that he needs, and like everybody just kind of having this experience where it's like doesn't matter what's going on with you, you just need to like fucking trust that it's going to work out as long as you just keep working on it, you know. And like he was just like, yeah, oh man, you guys got to meet this guy, his name's Io Kappa. And we're like, what? And he's like, yeah, oh man, he's fucking amazing. Like, I've been hanging out with him for a little while, and like I really feel like he's this old soul, like this super wise guy. And I mean, like, our bullshit detectors are going wild, you know, because like we know about fucking gurus, you know, and like we're like, okay. And he's like, yeah, like he's actually staying really close to where you guys are staying. Would you mind if we just like go visit him real quick, and then I'll take you guys to Baldwin Beach? And we're like, I mean, fuck it.
All right.
Worst case scenario, we end up walking along the beach a little ways. And so turns out like, fuck, I think he was actually staying at Baldwin, just like further down from us. And so there was like another entrance that was kind of like some BLM land or whatever, which I hope that we get to this at some point, but like the place where we were staying at Baldwin Beach eventually was turned into development property along with this other package.
Oh shit.
The development eventually fell through, but they had already poured a bunch of slabs for like big fucking buildings and shit. And so the hippies ended up having a perfect place to throw raves out there in the fucking woods.
Oh, shit.
On these big concrete slabs. And it kind of turned into like a fucking compound for a little while out there.
Whoa.
At some point in the aughts. So yeah, anyway, this is what Sean has told me since then. So like our little traveler camp eventually turned into a big fucking ravatorium.
That's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we don't need to talk about it now. So yeah,
Yeah, no, that's wild.
that happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, we end up going way down to the end of this fucking empty beach spot, and there's this guy. He's got a tent, and he's got like this spearfishing spear out that he's like working on. And he's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" You know, and like this guy's like, "Oh, you know, I've just given these guys a ride, and they seem really cool. You know, like they had all these great stories to tell, and I told them they just had to meet you because of your story." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool. You know, like where are you guys from? Blah blah blah." And we like kind of told him a little bit about us, and he's like, "Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the story that this guy's talking about. Like I was a real estate developer in Los Angeles, and like I had a bunch of projects going in Las Vegas, and like had my own Formula One race car team that I was like taking care of." Like he's like, I had a lot of material excess, and like, you know, was living a life that a lot of people would be envious of. But I'm Hawaiian by birth. He's like, my both of my grandmothers were great kahunas. And, you know, I don't remember if he said that his family had moved away from Hawaii and he grew up in LA, or if he had moved away as a young man. But either way, he'd spent most of his life in the States and, you know, had become this entrepreneur, etc. And he said that at some point he was having this big dinner party. I believe it was in Las Vegas. And he said that he had a vision of his two grandmothers. And they told him that he needed to drop everything that he was doing and go to the airport in the morning, and that someone would give him a plane ticket, and that he would come to Hawaii, and more would be explained there.
Oh, okay.
And so he said that this kind of shook him to his core. He didn't really know what to do. He told his wife. She didn't understand. And he was like, "Look, I'm just going to go to the airport tomorrow and we'll see what happens." And so he did. He went to the airport. I think she told him not to pack a bag. And so he just shows up at the airport. And he said that someone walked up to him and said, "Hey, I think this is for you." Gives him a plane ticket to Oahu. And he flies to Hawaii, gets off the plane, doesn't really know what to do, but just through coincidence and meeting people and just kind of being himself in the moment, he starts meeting Hawaiians who have connections to the royal bloodline, and like they start showing him the islands. And I don't remember most of his story, to be perfectly honest. And I mean, it definitely, I'm sure you're hearing some stuff that sounds like hoodoo and or woo woo or bullshit. And so I mean, like, just kind of had the story of like all these coincidental, serendipitous encounters, like going around to all of the islands. And I think Maui was one of the last islands he still had to go to. Maybe he still had to go to the Big Island, I don't remember, but he'd like just kind of been existing off of his own moxie and like hadn't used any of his money from back home. And basically he said he'd basically just signed everything over to his wife because she divorced him, and like gave a bunch of stuff to his sons.
Oh, because he'd been like dicking around in Hawaii for long enough.
Yeah. And I wish I remembered more of this guy's story.
Yeah.
But yeah, he basically just said that he felt like Hawaii was going to be the focal point of the world changing completely, and he felt like he had a part to play in that. And so he was just kind of trying to trust whatever it was that was guiding him through this. And, you know, us being in the middle of this fucking weird synchronicity storm, we're just kind of like, shit, man, we're all just travelers on this weird road, am I right?
Yeah, right.
And, you know, we like, he was at least sincere enough that we were like, well, I mean, this guy at least believes most of his bullshit, so
yeah,
I mean, like, fucking kudos for that, I guess, you know, like. And he's just living there in a tent, or living off spearfishing, fucking hanging out in a tent, trying to figure out what his next move is by listening to the fucking wind blow, you know?
I mean, look, if if you had a vision or a dream or whatever, or a fucking, alcohol fueled nightmare, who cares? But you go to an airport and some rando hands you a plane ticket. Like, all right. I mean, I'm pretty in.
Yeah,
pretty in.
Right.
That alone is bizarre enough.
Exactly,
So,
and
yeah.
I mean that was one of the parts of the story that I had a hard time believing. But
right, like that's kind of the hardest part to believe.
And then there's other, like, I think he had other visions that like told him things and like met other people that were like guiding him, and like honestly at the end of the day it's probably better that I did forget most of the details of that story, because who gives a shit. But
right,
like,
whatever, right.
It was cool that we just bumped into this random, like...
But he wasn't like some guru trying to like shill you his book, was he?
That's the thing, is he didn't have a book.
Yeah.
And it was like, this guy was like kind of like his acolyte, sort of, but like didn't seem like he really gave two fucks about him. It was just kind of like, oh, you're back again. Cool, well, let's hang out,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I never really knew what to make of that. And that's one of the reasons I'm bringing it up. Because, I mean, I obviously can't tell every fucking story from this quest, but, like, that was definitely one of the weirder ones, and it stuck out. In fact, I, like, was trying to remember his name really hard the other day, and I'm glad it finally came back to me. So, if anybody out there knows of any fucking New Age gurus named Io Kappa, let me know, because I'd love to know how he fucking turned out.
Yeah, for real.
And I mean, also like Orson Scott Card in like the Ender's Game series, like Hawaii figures very prominently in like the weird supernatural fucking change that happens in that universe.
Yeah.
And like that resonated with me, and like, all the weird magical shit that was happening, and like us thinking that we were like catalysts of change in the universe,
Terrence,
like,
Terrence had a big affinity for Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just
always said it was kind of a center of this and that, and a hub for this and that.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, like, it all just kind of fit. So, like, I figured I'd throw that in there.
That's very interesting.
Definitely one of the stranger things that I encountered.
Yeah, wild.
So, yeah, after that, like, we were kind of, like, starting to, I don't know, like, Paia was starting to itch a little bit. It's like, we'd seen some bar fights and, like, heard about some shady drug deals, and it was just kind of like, well, fuck it, let's check some other shit out. And we're talking to Solace about like maybe getting a job, and like they were hiring at Charlie's for a dishwasher, and I think the Fish House in Paia was hiring too.
And to this point, neither of you had gotten a real job.
We'd gotten some help from my folks, and like we had gotten food stamps, and we'd been selling crafts.
Okay, yeah. So you didn't make it on the crafts alone.
No, and I mean, like, I also had like a big chunk of change that we landed
that's right.
with.
That's right. Yeah.
So like, we had definitely kind of supplemented our labors.
Yeah.
To the point that we hadn't really needed to work, but it was like we were getting close to the end of what we had, and it was like, well, it would be cool to stick around. I mean, we like it here. We've definitely met people that we love and don't necessarily need to leave. And so, we were talking about finding jobs, and then Solace got this like photo shoot with this, I think it was Vogue or something like that, and they had bought him like all new camping gear and like all this shit. And no, that's right. Some rando bought him camping gear. They were just like, dude, like, your sleeping bag's looking pretty beat up. And he's like, yeah, whatever, it's not like I really need it, it's not that cold at night. And he's like, hey man, like, do you want to get a new sleeping bag? Well, of course. Like, takes him to REI, buys him a new tent, new sleeping bag, like all this shit.
Just some random?
Yeah, I think he kind of wanted to be Solace's sugar daddy, but like Solace was just so happy-go-lucky that it was all just going over his head. Yeah. It was just like, yeah, I love you too, bro. Like, see ya.
Shit.
He was just such a fucking just innocent dude. I love that guy. So anyway, we never really went anywhere with finding jobs, and we were like, well, fuck it, like, let's at least check out some more of the island before we gotta like figure this shit out. And so we decided to like move our camp down to Kipahulu, which is south of Hana, which is on the wettest side of the island, at least back then. And it's right next to this park called Seven Sacred Pools, and it's this a series of waterfalls that goes up the mountainside, and the first series of waterfalls is the 7 sacred pools, and then there's more shit, and you can just go way the fuck up. I think if you're really adventurous, you can even hook up with the Haleakala Crater Trail system and like actually like go over the mountain that way. But we were in no way equipped for that. It was just it was a good place to camp because there's really nothing else. There's not a whole lot of beaches down there. It's a lot of sea cliffs. And so there's not a whole lot of opportunities for camping on that side of the island, apart from sacred pools. And technically they want you to have a permit, but we figured if we weren't actually camping on the campground, we can get around that. It did get a little sticky, but we'll get to that later. So the first day that we're in 7 sacred pools, we decide, or the day before, we decided that the first day we were going to get up and drop acid when the sun came up, because there's no tourists there. Like the tourists show up, around like 9-10 o'clock, because they all have to drive in from somewhere else. There's no way to be there in the morning unless you're camping there, and it's wintertime. The tourists are all staying in fucking hotels. So we crawled out of our rainfly around dawn and dosed up on some of that Jerry. And like
you still have a little of that?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we definitely milked it. And like we also had some I mentioned the E-bombs and stuff. But yeah, so today we're just doing acid, but I want to say we did like 3 hits, which was a decent amount of that stuff. Like we were gonna trip fucking face. And so we go down to this rocky point that goes right out onto the sea cliff where these big fucking waves are smashing, and we like smoke a bowl and like get our heads right, and just kind of hang out watching the sunrise. And or no, maybe we didn't see the sunrise. I think the sun was already up at that point. But yeah, we're just hanging out, like smoking weed and like just kind of like getting ready. And we start hiking, and we didn't get very far into the jungle at all before we saw and the only reason that we saw it is because we were tripping face at this point. But like, there's a fucking 6-foot web, like a spider web, that completely encompasses the trail, because there's like these branches that are making this arch over the trail, and so it's connected on a few different points, and it's like this gate going across the trail.
Shit.
And Jessica's like, fuck this, we're going back. And I'm like, what? And she's like, there's a fucking dragon guarding the fucking gate. Like,
yeah, dude.
All right, I mean, that's fair, but check this out. And so I start severing strands all along the top and like a couple on the bottom, and then I take like the biggest strands on the sides and just kind of wrap them up into 2 strands that I'm holding on to, and I swing the entire spider web like a fucking door, and I attach it to some more branches on the other side, so it's like an open door now. And I'm like, milady, and she's like, holy fucking shit, did you just do that? And I'm like, yeah, I can feel each little strand because my fucking fingers are so sensitive right now. And she's like, there's no way that I can do that. And I'm like, it's cool, I got this.
That's so funny.
So we keep going, and we saw at least half a dozen more of those fucking dragon gates.
Oh man.
And each time I'm just like, doo doo doo. Milady. And after the second one, she was laughing every time. It had become amusing.
But no one's bringing up the fact that there's a spider somewhere that made that web.
Well, you could see it. I mean, it was right in the middle. It was a big fucking orb weaver, like the size of a 50-cent piece.
Shit.
Like they were massive, but they're orb weavers. Like, I know they're not going to fuck with me. They're just big webs, and like, they were so big that I could get way on the side, well away from the spider, and I was maintaining enough tension that the spider wasn't even bothered.
Yeah.
Because you can do things like that when you're high on acid. It's ridiculous.
Right. Totally.
So yeah, after like a few different gates, it was like, yeah, no, this is part of the adventure now. And so we're climbing the trail, and there's cows just hanging out in
Nice.
various meadows. And sometimes they're interested in us, sometimes they're not, but every time we have to talk to them.
Yeah. Yep.
And at one point, we noticed that the cows were eating guavas off of the ground. And I'm like, oh shit, I want a fucking guava. And she's like, yeah, I want a guava too. And I look up in the tree and I'm like, oh, apparently they're everywhere. What? Yeah, look up. Oh my god! So we're just feasting on guavas.
Hell yeah.
Tasted so good. Oh my god.
I bet. Yeah. Oh, I mean, nothing better than fresh fruit when you're tripping.
Right?
Yeah, it's so good.
It was like the best thing I've ever eaten. And so, we're climbing, we're getting higher and higher. And eventually we get to this thing that I'd heard about, which is the bamboo forest. And like you see it on the horizon before you get to it, and it's like this wall of green, and with like these fucking fuzzy tops that are like flying around in the wind. And we're just like, oh shit, are we in a movie right now? And so we get in there, and like you get into the bamboo forest, and the bamboo is way over your head. It's like 3 times as tall as you are, easy. And you start walking, and like once you go around a couple of turns, you can't see anything but bamboo as far back as the eye can see.
Whoa.
It's just bamboo that's not standing up perfectly straight. They're all kind of angled, right? And so if you look back into the forest while you're walking, they all start moving. Because it's like the pencil trick where you're like waving the pencil fast between your fingers and it looks like it bends.
Yeah.
There's enough of them that are moving in succession that they all start doing this noodle dance. And like,
Whoa.
Granted, I was on acid.
Right, so that helped.
But like, holy shit, is it amusing. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I bet.
and like, you try to figure out where the vanishing point is too. It's just like, how far back am I seeing? And like, eventually I can't see past this one trunk of bamboo. Like, there's just one trunk back there, like where you can't see anything further, and that's like the vanishing point. Like,
Yeah.
and then so you like try to move your head and like find these new vanishing points, and it's just, oh my God, the perspective is disorienting even when you're not high. But when you're high, it's like one of the coolest trip toys I've ever seen, because it's the whole world around you.
Yeah.
It's so fucking cool. And so
that's cool. But there's a trail that you can still sort of follow,
and it's paved. It's like an asphalt trail. And like
Awesome.
it goes through banyan trees, or lower down it's going through banyan trees and stuff, and it's not always paved in there because they don't want to fuck with the root systems. But like once you get up into the bamboo forest, like there's a real fucking path. And there's like a kind of a wider spot with a big rock in the middle of it, and I was like, this rock wants us to smoke a bowl on it. And she was like, that's weird, you're right. So we paused for a moment there and made out a little bit, and then like kept walking, and eventually you get to this spot where the trail kind of reverses itself, and then you're on this wooden walkway going through the canopy of the bamboo.
Oh, whoa.
And it's like a fucking sea of grass all around you. It's fucking amazing, man.
Oh, man, that sounds awesome.
Oh, it's so cool. And like eventually you get up to this 500-foot tall waterfall at the top.
Damn.
And that was about where the tourists caught up with us.
Yeah.
It's at the top of the trail. Like we'd done so much lollygagging and dicking around and like weed smoking that finally these ambitious tourists had like caught up with us. But it was only after we had stripped half naked and were about to try to bone in the waterfall.
Oh no.
We were like, oh, there's people. We should put clothes on. So that kind of killed the afternoon vibe, but we were like, yeah, fuck it. We made it to the top. Let's go back to the bottom.
Yeah.
And because we weren't about to like hang up there tripping with a bunch of fucking tourists.
Oh hell no.
So yeah, we made it back down to the bottom, and shoot, it must have been like a few days later. I want to say it was a week later, because we never did psychedelics like any closer than like a week apart. Like, if you do mushrooms, you wait another week before you do it because you want your serotonin and everything to recharge.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it was like a week later or something, but like Jessica really wanted to see the sunrise. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, well, whatever. Fuck it. We'll just combine all these stories. So, Jessica really wanted to see the sunrise across the ocean because, on the West Coast, you see the sunset over the ocean anytime you fucking want, right?
Yeah.
Anyone who's been to the coast has seen the sunset, right?
Yeah.
But unless you're on the East Coast, there's no way to see the sunrise, right?
Uh-huh.
And so she's like, we're here on the eastern side of the island. It's important to me to see the sunrise over the ocean. Like, I really want to have had that experience. I'm like, fuck yeah, me too. And she's like, but, there's no beach here. Like, we're just kind of on a sea cliff. I mean, we could get up early enough and see it, but wouldn't you rather be, like, right at the same level as the ocean and, like, be able to kind of see the sun shining through the ocean for, like, a few seconds before it comes up above the horizon?
Yeah.
Like, you mean, like, the reverse green flash? And she's like, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, don't get me wrong, I've never seen the green flash and I'm not convinced that it exists. But,
right.
as close to it as we could get. So the plan was that we were going to dose, like, at midnight.
Yeah.
And then walk from Kipahulu to Hana, which, if memory serves, is a 10-mile walk. And so we figured, if we're walking at least 4 miles an hour, like, we'll get there with plenty of time with, 5 hours between midnight and sunrise or whatever.
Yeah.
The sunrise might have even been later than 5 a.m. I don't remember exactly how we worked it out. But yeah, like, we figured out about when we'd need to start walking, and we did. Now, mind you, neither one of us really has rain gear. We'd gotten these, like, emergency ponchos from Aunt Sally's that were pretty much, I almost want to say they were literally trash bags.
Yeah.
With holes for your arms and a hood and, like, a cutout for your head.
Yep.
But I mean, they were just shaped like big bags. Thankfully, they were baggy enough that I could, like, pull it over my backpack and have a poncho that covered my top half as well as my backpack. And so this became relevant when we were walking along the road and we heard what could only be described as 1,000 footsteps on the canopy of the forest coming our way.
Oh,
and I'm
shit.
like, what do you think that is? And she's like, I don't know. Is it the wind? I'm like, no, that is the rain. And she's like, oh shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm really glad we brought these shitty ponchos. Let's try them out. Oh god, they're just trash bags.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than nothing. And then the rain hits the road, like, just as we're getting the ponchos on, and it's like cold drops of water, and it's fucking dumping, dude.
Yeah.
Like, they're drops the size of tadpoles, and, like,
Oh, fuck.
it's fucking pelting us. And, like, Jess figures out that she can get her knees underneath hers, and she's just, like, turtled up inside of this fucking trash bag with a hood. And I'm, like, doing the same thing. Like, I was skinny at the time. I guess my knees fit in mine too. Like, I don't fucking remember. Anyway, we huddled and, like, waited for the rain to pass, and it did. And then we shed our fucking ponchos, rolled them back up, kept walking. And I think it was right about the time that I realized I was, like, a little bit hungry, even though I was tripping, just because, like, we probably hadn't eaten since, like, 9 o'clock at the latest, probably before then. And I'm just like, shit, we didn't really eat much for dinner. Are you hungry? She's like, actually, yeah, I kind of am. And then we go walking past one of the ubiquitous fruit stands that lines the road between Kipahulu and Hana. Because everyone out there grows fruit. I mean, it literally grows wild on
everywhere.
the property.
Yeah.
Just about everywhere. So it's like, they get a rack of bananas that's almost ripe. They cut it down. They hang it up in this little stand next to their driveway with a lockbox that says honor system. And so you go by and you put $1 in, you take whatever you want. And so
It's cool.
Sure enough, we were like, oh shit, these are apple bananas, because they have red bananas that grow over there. They call them apple bananas, and they're fucking delicious. And so I'm like, do you have $1? And she's like, yeah. So we fucking grabbed like 6 of those and, like, kept walking, eating bananas. And, like, we just kind of repeated this cycle of, like, walking through these crazy switchbacks all along the fucking Hana Road. Like, it's almost like fjords. Like, it just, like, the river or the creeks cut so deep back into there that you're like
Yeah.
going way out on these fingers and then like coming all the way back in on these fucking creeks and then going back out, you know. And so
Wild.
we're just curving around the wet side of the island, like eating fruit as we go and ducking under our ponchos pretty regularly to avoid the
just
serious
swaths
downpour.
of rain are just coming through.
But thankfully it wasn't like a steady downpour. It was always like you could hear it coming.
Yeah.
And it would just like punish us for a while and then it was gone.
That's wild.
So eventually we make it to Hana and I'm wearing these fucking like deck shoes that are just canvas and rubber and like my feet are so soaked. And we're like just kind of squishing through town. We get down to the elementary school in Hana and there's this path that goes behind the school around what is like are you familiar with a cinder cone, like that style of like, yeah, so it's a cinder cone, like a vent for the volcano, but it's right on the beach, and so the waves have washed away half of this cinder cone and made a red sand beach.
Whoa, cool.
And that's the name of the beach that we were going to. It's called Red Sands, and there's this sign that says something about, you know, like, you know, use this trail at your own risk, and then someone below has written beware of hippies, because that's the kind of beach that it is. And so yeah, we got out there and like it was still dark, but you could kind of see the light on the horizon, and my feet are so pruny that I want to take my socks off, and then I do, and then I realize my feet are really cold.
Oh no.
So I put my wet socks back on and my wet shoes.
No.
That wasn't the greatest on LSD, but
I bet. Yeah. Oh god.
but you know, then we're just kind of huddled there because I mean it's really the coldest part of the day is at dawn, and it wasn't very warm. But then
Damn.
you know we start seeing these little fingers of sunlight coming up through the water, and there's like this really cool rock formation in front of us that it's all playing off of.
Nice.
These cool waves coming over the top of it, and dude, it's fucking magical. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was
I
the first
bet.
time I've seen the sunrise on the ocean. It was amazing. I was
Yeah.
still high to see it, so
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
it was pretty dope. And so around that time, we bumped into Aima, who's our friend that we met in Paia. She's a local. I think she grew up on Maui, and she takes care of this artist pad out past Kipahulu. The guy's been living in the States for like 10 years, hasn't even come back, but you know, he just wants to maintain this property out there in case he ever does want to move back to Hawaii.
Wild.
And so he's just, you know, he knows some people who live there and lets them stay there as long as they keep everything up, and he pays for any kind of like upkeep that's necessary, just as long as there's somebody there.
What a sweet gig.
Holy shit, right? And so, you know, she's like, yeah, you guys don't need to sleep in this like big pile of garbage bags anymore. And we're like, hey, there's a tent under there. She's like, I know, but like seriously, like fuck this campground, come stay in my house. And we're like, yes,
Oh
thank
my god,
you,
a house.
it's amazing. And so, you know, we get down there.
Like, is it sticky? Because we're kind of used to sticky at this point.
Is it covered in ants and sand? 'Cause I don't think I can sleep otherwise. Ugh. And so yeah, we get down there and it's like this black box, and we're like, okay. And she's like, no, just wait until we get inside. And like, she's like, matter of fact, just wait out here. She goes inside, and like the walls of the house start opening out
What?
and become awnings.
No way.
And it's just this big open air structure. It's like the kitchen is actually outside, and it's just covered with this system of sails from a sailboat that you can reel all the way in so that you're in a completely open air kitchen, or you can roll them all the way down and have a cover so you can work out there in the rain.
For fuck's sake.
Right? It's got a solar shower. Oh no, I'm sorry, it was a gas-fired shower that was outdoor. And it was the only place I saw a mushroom that wasn't psychedelic in Hawaii. It was just growing right there in the shower. Bright orange mushroom.
Nice.
Yeah, and the shower was hot as fuck. Like, it was just like
Yeah.
instant heat, you know? So it was like, so nice.
Yeah.
And we actually just pitched our tent out in the yard the first night because she was like, oh, you know, like, I'm going to get this bed set up for you guys. And we're like, it's really late. Like, we can set up our tent in the dark. Let's just, oh no, fuck that. We didn't sleep in our tent. What am I talking about? That's crazy. Anyway, no, we slept inside. The reason I thought we slept outside is because the first thing that we did in the morning was go out in the yard. And the reason why was because Aima was like, hey, you should go look around underneath the coconut trees and see if there's any sprouted coconuts. And we're like, what are you talking about? She's like, just trust me. If you see a coconut with a little sprout coming out of it, grab it.
Huh.
Sure enough, it didn't take us more than a few minutes of looking. We found a sprouted coconut. We brought it back, and she's like, oh, this one's perfect. It's actually like had a couple of days. And we're like, okay. And she's like, so what happens when a coconut sprouts is there is an enzymatic change inside of it, and it actually starts producing the structures that will eventually become its roots inside the milk of the coconut. And the rootlets are initially using that fluid as nutrient to power the growth of the sprouts that are going to try to reach the sun and start photosynthesizing. And so you crack open the coconut and all of the meat has turned into like this butter. It's no longer hard.
Whoa.
It's soft coconut meat. And the milk is full of these rootlets that are the texture of like wet cotton candy. And it all tastes like coconut.
Hell yeah.
It's one of the best things I've ever eaten.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Right?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been sold a short fucking buck on a coconut
I'm
here, dude.
saying!
Like,
Oh,
damn.
fuck hard ass coconut
No
meat.
shit, right?
It's like you're like saving a step and losing everything, you know?
That's what I'm saying, man. So, like, let them sprout.
Exactly. Sprouted coconut
Wow.
is the way.
Okay, well, geez, man.
Right? And so, yeah, like that was kind of our introduction to like living the life and keep a Hulu. And, you know, we're just like, God, what else could this day hold in store for us? And she's like, oh, just wait. You guys want to go visit a tree house? And we're like, well, I mean, of course we do. And she's like, yeah, these guys have a 2,000 square foot house that they built into like the biggest banyan I've ever seen.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to reserve judgment until we get out there because I don't believe you. And sure enough, we get out there and like it's not all one continuous building. Like they put different
Even
parts
better.
of it.
That's cool as hell.
Yeah, and like it's all connected by like rope bridges and like they did it all very conscientiously.
Little
so
fucking
that
Ewok village.
yeah, exactly. And they did it all really conscientiously so that it's all just kind of held firm on the tree by a system of like nylon webbing and like steel cable that's connected to anchors on the ground.
Damn.
So that like, yes, it's in the tree, but it's not like hurting the tree. The tree can totally grow around it. Its weight is like mostly supported off of the tree. So like,
damn.
Yeah, it's killer, man. And we get on the property and like we're driving through this orchard and there's like these avocado trees with avocados bigger than any I've ever seen in my life. There's like all these fucking guavas and mangoes and like passion fruit vines, and I'm just like, this is insane. And so we get there, we get out of the car, and like the folks who live there come down and they're like, you know, meeting, greeting, and like out of nowhere we hear this shout, and it's like this little blur comes out of the house and like climbs Aima, and then there's just a kid like hanging off of her shoulder, just like easy peasy, like he's some little monkey, you know. And they're like, oh, and this is Kai. And I'm like, what's up, dude? And he's like, oh, hi. And he jumps down from Aima and like climbs up me.
What?
And I'm like, oh, what's up, little dude? And they're like, that's kind of how he gets to know people. Like, he's been living in a tree his entire life.
Holy shit.
And I'm like, oh my God, I want to take you home with me.
Right?
And so, yeah, like...
You're a little fucking lost boy, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You're a little fucking Rufio.
And so, you know, we like get the tour of the house and it's like super cool. And like the crown jewel is this meditation room that they put up in the canopy of the tree that's just a big plexiglass dome.
Sweet.
And so, yeah, you get up in there and there's just a floor with some cushions and like a 360 degree view of tree canopy and like what's beyond it. And it's fucking gorgeous.
What the fuck?
And I'm like, man, this is amazing. And they're like, yeah, like it's one of our favorite rooms in the house. We don't get to use it as much anymore because Kai's kind of claimed it as his bedroom. And I'm like, well, duh.
Shit, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, he just climbed up here one night and he hasn't slept in his bedroom since. Like, can you blame him? They're like, absolutely not. And we're not going to stop him.
Yeah.
Good for you. And they're like, yeah, but every now and then, like, when he's, like, in daycare or whatever, like, we like to come back up here and, reclaim the room. And I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah, yep. Man, so who were these rich people who just, like, owned all this land and got to build a treehouse or whatever?
I don't remember what their deal was, but they were basically just like, yeah, I mean, all we have to do is farm, like, just grow this orchard and it pays for the property. So
wow, man.
Yeah, and so that after like getting to know them and their house a little bit, like they're like, yeah, let's go out let's go pick some stuff for lunch. And so we go out and they're like, you like the avocados, right? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, get an avocado. And I just look up and there's one.
They're like, get a sprouted avocado. You're like, what the fuck?
Fortunately, I don't know if those are any good, but
no.
But I look up and there's one that's literally bigger than my head, and I'm just like, that one. And they're like, ooh, that's a good one. And like I pull it down, and like we grabbed a bunch of other stuff, and like we take it inside. And I'm like, what do you even do with this? And they're like, oh, let us show you our favorite way to eat an avocado for lunch. And so they just run a knife around the midpoint. And they pop it in half just like you would any avocado, except no, they didn't do it. Sorry, they didn't do it lengthwise like we usually would. They did it around the short half.
Oh, okay.
So that you pop it into two like top and bottom halves. And there's still like the seed poking out of one half. The seed's like the size of my fucking fist, dude.
Right.
Jesus.
And they did what we usually do and like bury a knife in it to pop it out. But then there's a cavity left behind that's huge, right?
Yeah.
And so they're like, slap a little tamari down in there, some fucking bean sprouts, some fucking Bragg's and Minos, like a little bit of like red pepper flake, and fucking grab a spoon, dude. And
wow.
I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, just like start carving avocado with a spoon and like get some of the shit from the middle. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, you just take half an avocado and like you like spoon out bits of it with a bunch of other shit inside that you get on the spoon. And like the thing about this avocado is most of the avocados that we have here in the States are Hass avocados, which is one type of avocado, right? There's hundreds of different kinds. And so this one ended up tasting kind of like a smoky mango, like with that kind of like buttery avocado-ness to it. It was definitely like fruity, though. It wasn't like the super savory avocados that we're used to, And so like with the liquid aminos and like the tamari and like the pepper flake, all of a sudden it was like fucking Thai food, It was just it was the best. I've never had an avocado that good before or since.
It's so wild how we do in the States just limit ourselves to like one fucking kind of a thing.
We get one banana here. We get one coconut.
One carrot.
One carrot, exactly.
There's all sorts of fucking cool carrots out there, man.
Absolutely. We get like we get a few kinds of tomatoes, but only a few.
A few.
There's hundreds, there's hundreds of kinds of corn.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I mean that's the fucking weird ass agriculture system that we're living in.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wild.
We spent a little while with the tree people, and that day I think is when I met, oh shit, I forgot her name. I want to say it was Louise. She was Woody Harrelson's housekeeper.
Whoa.
And the only reason that this even came up was we're hanging out at Aima's.
Oh, does he live on the island?
Yeah, that's like his headquarters. And we're hanging out at Aima's, and it's kind of a rainy day, and her friend gets in, and she's like, oh, I have had the weirdest fucking day. And we're like, yeah, well, why don't you smoke a joint and tell us about it? And she's like, okay, so, it's been raining for like 16 hours now, and I got up and like all my shit was already kind of wet, but I was late to go clean Woody's house, so I just bailed up there and said, fuck it, I'll figure my shit out later. She said she got up there and like did a bunch of laundry and like cleaned up, and there's like a couple of little things left, but she figured she could just get to them the next day because it wasn't anything pressing. And so she finds Woody somewhere in the house, and she's just like, hey man, I got all the laundry done, like everything's cleaned up, like you had like these 2 side projects that you wanted me to work on, but I was hoping maybe I could just pick that up tomorrow because I gotta go take care of my stuff. Like it's been raining for hours now, and I'm probably like practically washed out. And he threw a fucking fit. It was like blah blah blah, like I pay you this amount, and like you're supposed to like blah blah blah. And she was like, you know what, man, fuck you. Like my shit is underwater right now.
Yeah.
And you can't let me go take care of like the only things in the world that I own. Fuck you. And he started crying.
Whoa.
And like grabbed her hands and was like, thank you, I'm so sorry, thank you for treating me like a real human being.
Oh shit.
And like fucking launches into this whole fucking monologue about how like everyone treats him like he's like an alien, and like nobody ever fucking behaves like a normal human around him anymore, and so he's like practically lost touch with the world. And so
shit.
He's fucking depressed, and like he's acting like an idiot, and he can't believe that he just fucking took all that shit out on her. And,
oh wow.
And he's like, here's a joint, fucking like we're gonna smoke this joint, and then we're gonna go fucking no, fuck that, we're gonna smoke this joint on our way to go take care of your shit. And she's like, what? Thank you. And so like they get to the place. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. Just load all your shit up in my car. We'll take it back to my place. We'll throw it in the dryer. We'll like figure this shit out. And like, they get there and like her tent's pretty much ruined, and so is her sleeping bag. And he's like, okay, well, fuck it. We'll get to my house. We'll put what we can in the dryer, and then we're going to fucking go get you some new shit.
Whoa.
And he did. He bought her a new tent. He bought her a new sleeping bag.
Wild.
Like some extra shit. And like they get back to his house, and like the stuff in the dryer's done. And like, he's like, hey, like my cook is gonna be here soon. Do you wanna like eat dinner here? And like, so he fucking made her dinner and like gave her like another like couple $100 for dealing with him being an asshole. And he's like, I hope that you're never afraid to like throw it in my face if I'm being an asshole, because like you really made my day today by just telling me no.
Wow.
And
holy shit.
Right? And so she comes back with this story, and I'm like, I mean, on the one hand, like, what an asshole, but like at the end of the day, like, what a cool guy.
Hey, if you can turn it around, we all got our moments.
And fucking A, man.
Wait, and so this guy like just lives on the beach with you guys in a tent?
Wait, what?
You said that she had like a tent and a sleeping bag.
She was living on someone else's property, not with us.
Oh,
like,
okay. She wasn't part of the hippie clan.
No, like she like there was a house with like a deck that she'd put her tent underneath, and that was pretty much enough most of the time. But like she said, it'd been raining for like 16 hours straight.
Yeah,
it just was like all coming down through the deck, and like her shit was just kind of in a bad spot.
No amount of rainfly or rain protection could stop that.
Yeah, and it turns out like she'd kind of put it in a low area where like all the water was actually collecting, so it just ended up being a really shitty place to put your tent. But until it had rained really hard, there was no way of knowing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just all kind of came together on one day for her.
Wild. So, wait, so tell me more about, like, meeting this gal who, like, caretakes this rich dude's house. How did you meet her? Because, I mean, what, she just come through the hippie tents and every now and again be like, hey.
I want to say that she was, like, 18 or 19 and, like, had kind of gotten this gig from someone else who knew the artist. And, like, who was, like, I don't want to be stuck here all the time. And she was like, fuck it, I'm young and like I haven't made any bad decisions yet, so like why don't you let me take care of it? And she's like, yeah, you're trustworthy. And so she didn't really need to work because she just had this place provided,
right? And
like her folks lived not too far away, so like she really wasn't worried about much. And so like she would work every now and then when she needed money, but like most of the time she was just partying and like getting to know the fucking kids on the island. And like, dude, she's telling me about these fucking raves that this guy, like, apparently this guy moved to Maui to just make MDMA. And like towards the end, he was like, well, I've basically made as much as I'm ever going to need to make, so I don't really care if my secret gets out. And like started throwing these big fucking raging Molly parties. And he would just literally have a bowl full of Molly in the middle of the table with a key next to it. And you just come by and do key bumps, you know,
God.
like all night. And she said that was the first time she'd done MDMA, and it was like the cleanest shit she's ever done.
Holy shit.
Right?
Wild, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, she called them key parties. And I'm like, that's not a key party.
Right?
And she's like, well, I mean, everyone was just doing shit off the key. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't mean it's a key party.
Yeah, totally, right?
It's a whole different thing.
Just like, and then the next night, like this lemon orchard owner I knew, like, for this party, like, oh, the best lemon parties. Whoa.
Sugar roll. That is not what that means.
Also not what that means.
So yeah, I mean, I almost forgot about this, but since we mentioned Red Sands Beach, I can't forget to mention Black Sands Beach, which is also called Wainapa Napa. And shit, I'm not sure if it was here or at Seven Sacred Pools, but there's a sign that says...
I'll tell you why Napa Napa.
Yeah, right? But there's a sign that says drowning happens once in a lifetime. And, you know, to not...
Yeah, okay.
To be careful. And so, like, that immediately made me think of the Talking Heads.
Right.
Let the water hold me down.
Right? Seriously.
I'm just like, oh, shit, yeah. Like, wow. Okay. I wonder if that's where that song comes from.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so the cool thing about Black Sands Beach is, obviously, it's black rocks that have been pulverized into ocean sand. And I believe it's basalt. You know, just lava rocks that have been pulverized. But there's also some caves, like just off the beach, that are famous for a Hawaiian princess escaping her captors in there. And like it's now kind of a Hawaiian religious site. And when the surf gets really high, it'll go way back into the cave. And that's one of the reasons why they suggest tourists should never go into this cave, because it is a sea cave and waves go in there.
Yeah.
But like I said, when we were there, it was record high surf. It was a blue moon. Like there was 2 full moons in 1 month, and it was, I mean, 10-foot fucking swell off Cowpo. Like it was huge. And so like some of these big waves would go barreling back into the cave, and you'd hear this fucking big boom, and then bats would come boiling out of one of the fucking vents in the cave.
Hell yeah.
It was a trip, dude. And so like you're fucking hanging out on this beach, and there's like fucking bats flying around. It's black sand. I'm like,
oh shit, yeah.
Fucking Adam's Family beach trip, dude.
Dude, right? Yeah, fucking
some cool
little
shit.
Gotham Beach.
Yeah. And there's like all these signs about man of wars, like just like fucking writing about jellyfish and shit.
Damn,
I'm just
dude.
like, this is a metal fucking beach.
Yeah,
right
right. Yeah, totally.
And like it didn't stop there too, because like yeah, right. There's definitely surf on this beach, but it's all fucking shore break.
Yeah.
But it's deceptive. It doesn't look like shore break. So you'll get out there and you'll be like, oh yeah, here comes a wave. Oh yeah, I got this. Oh shit, wow, like I'm really able to push off easily. Oh shit, I'm instantly going over the falls. Fuck!
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like you get up on the wave and you're like, hey, where'd the water go? Just onto the fucking sand.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Dude, it was brutal. I got tumbled harder on that beach than anywhere else.
Yeah. Huh.
And then I was like, oh, right. There's signs saying that you shouldn't get in the ocean. Maybe we should surf another beach.
Yeah, right?
Fucking wankers. But yeah, Black Sands Beach is cool as fuck. Also, the road leading down to Wainapa Napa, lined with coconuts on either side with ample chance of sprouting. So if you are walking down to Black Sands Beach, A, keep your eye open for sprouted coconuts, and B, if you can't find any, there are fence posts, like the kind that they put barbed wire on, you know what I'm talking about? Like the those metal V-shaped fence posts with like the orange tops.
Totally.
You can open a coconut easier with one of those than any other tool.
Nice.
So visualize, if you will, the part of the coconut that attaches to the tree, that kind of like weird, bristly, kind of soft point. you're gonna just stab that thing onto the top of the fence post as hard as you fucking can.
Yep.
So it digs in a bit, and then you're just gonna work it around.
Yep.
So that it's loosening up all of that husk at the top.
Yep.
And once you get it to kind of open up a bit, you're gonna stab it again and fucking work it around some more until you've really got some of those husk fibers peeled away. That's gonna give you enough purchase that you can actually grab onto a hunk of it and pull it off.
Oh, nice.
And
just pop the top off.
Yeah, you've almost got it halfway peeled at that point.
Yeah.
And then you just peel the rest of the husk off, and you're left with that little brown nut inside.
Hell yeah. Nope.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we struggled with trying to peel a coconut for a while.
Yeah.
On the edge of that trail, just like banging it on sharp rocks, like digging at it with a pocket knife.
Yeah.
None of that shit works. If you don't have a machete, you need a fucking fence post. And I tell you what, fence post works better than a machete if you're not trained in using a machete to peel a coconut.
Yeah. Huh. Right on.
So there you go. That's a pro tip from me to you. How to peel a coconut? Use a fence post.
Okay. A metal fence post.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, I'm really glad we got to Black Sands Beach, because that's honestly, if you took nothing else away from this fucking podcast, how to open a coconut with a fence post.
Fucking A.
That's like the crucial point here. So there you go.
I feel like you're gonna need that info.
I fucking A. And I mean, like the Hawaiian who did it for us, like, guy must be a ranch hand or something, you know, but like just fucking cool as a fucking summer breeze, just like there you go.
Yeah.
We're like, holy fucking shit.
Might have done it a time or two before.
Certainly.
Yeah.
Certainly. Yeah, that guy was an angel.
That's awesome.
So yeah, you know, after a while it's like oh, one last thing about Aima's sweet fucking artist pad.
Oh yeah.
There's also a horse living there.
Nice.
And it is like, if I am to be reincarnated, I either want to be a house cat in some rich people's house, or at the very least someone who's just down to spoil a cat. Or I want to be this fucking horse, because this horse just lived in a pasture of like knee-high grass that was lush as fuck at all times.
Yeah.
And it's overlooking this sea cliff with like 20-foot swell smashing into it. It's like a 100-foot cliff, so the spray doesn't even get up to the top.
Yeah.
But you just look down and you see this fucking epic spray and like these fucking waves rolling all the way the fuck out, you know, and it's like,
hell yeah.
Just this majestic view. And this horse is just tooling around, eating as much grass as it possibly can, maybe perhaps the occasional sprouted coconut or some psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a better life as a horse.
Dude. Right? And apparently this artist has better places to be, which is what's mind-blowing.
If memory serves, that artist had been in Santa Fe for 10 years.
Weird.
Yeah, right? Apparently the crystals just have better resonance down there.
Dude, I mean... Yeah, I mean, I would say that's like, all right, you know, the desert offers a solitude, but also I feel like the island does too, right? Like you can carve out some space for yourself.
Well, I think for this person, it was more about the like spiritual stuff. You know, there's more woo woo shit going on.
Maybe some
in
different
Santa Fe.
Crystals.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
So
you catch my meaning.
Some fucking some Walter White action.
Yeah, dude.
Who knows?
Yeah, can't think of any better.
But I do know that there's a very, very strong New Age community in Santa Fe. Not that there isn't.
There
in Hawaii,
is, and there is one in Taos too.
Right.
Taos is like actually a really cool fucking spot. It would be, because there's not many places in America I actually would want to live outside of Portland, but Taos is kind of one of them.
All right.
But just because it is so cool, a lot of history, it's just a total artist community, just like really chill. Everyone there is very like liberal and cool and artistic. So yeah.
Oh man, there's something about Taos in a sci-fi book that I just read where people don't believe it exists. Fuck, which book is that? I don't know, but it'll be in the show notes, I guess.
All right.
It's such a good book. It's the main character's name is Gully. Anyway, It's one of the most overlooked good sci-fi reads from the 70s. It's
okay. Oh, it's the 70s. Okay.
Yeah, it's fucking intense. Anyway, and I might be conflating a couple of books here, but I'm pretty sure it's this one, and I'll try to remember what it is for the show notes.
We'll figure it out. We'll show note it.
Yeah, so Taos may or may not exist is my point. It's really up to you. But yeah, so, we didn't necessarily wear out our welcome, but I think we'd been in touch with Spencer, and we knew that his birthday was coming up. And we'd ultimately decided that even though we hadn't done a couple of things that we'd really wanted to do, one of which was hike the crater, another was hiking Ia Valley. And Ia Valley, for those who don't know, is on the northern face of the island. It is this mountain valley on the mountain range that is not Haleakala. Famous for a rock that I believe is called the Eon Needle, which is up at the mouth of the river, not the mouth, but the source of the river that comes down that valley. And it's famous because I believe it was King Kamehameha, the eventual king of all of Hawaii, was trying to unite all of the islands, and the king of Maui was resisting, so they decided to murder everyone, which was, just kind of what the Hawaiians did. They're Tahitians, basically. I'm sorry, they're descended from Tahitians. I'm not trying to throw any shade here. Anyway, they're a bloody fucking tribe. They war a lot, and so they are fighting the king of Maui, and all of the people, or all of the warriors of Maui have kind of retreated back into this canyon, this Ia Valley, and the king of Maui, or I think it was him. Anyway, some badass warrior is on this fucking rock, the Eon Needle, and it's the fucking last stand. And they said that he killed so many Hawaiians that the river ran red with blood.
Whoa.
And King Kamehameha decided to give up and just let him have Maui, as long as he was cool with him being the king of the rest of Hawaii.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Right on.
So anyway, a little bit of Maui history for you there. And we'd been meaning to go check out that valley because it was kind of close to where we'd been staying at different points. But it's also on a part of the island that's a little more remote, a little tougher to get to. The roads aren't so great out there. And nobody ever wanted to go with us. So it's not really a place to party. It's just a place to go hiking. And ultimately, now that I think about it, that's probably why we never hiked the crater or Ia Valley, is because there's just nowhere to party. So nobody was interested.
Those were just legitimate hikes.
Yeah. It's wait, you want to just go walk for 11 miles? I got a lot of mushrooms to eat, bro. It's really going to cut into my naked beach time.
Yeah, dude. Me and Tater and Squirrel and fucking
Corn Pop. And fuck. Yeah. So anyway, we've just kind of decided that it's okay if we don't see absolutely everything on the island, and we're not going to worry about trying to find a job because there's raves to go to in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And the raves that we've been out to in Hawaii, they just aren't up to our high standards,
Yeah.
The culture out there has not evolved as far as it has in San Francisco,
So you forsaked living in paradise to go and party more?
We gave up on paradise to go do drugs in a dark room filled with sweaty kids and lasers.
You're like, look, the vapor rub out here is just not...
I mean, the vintage is not up to my high standards.
There's 30 species of vapor rub?
These guys only have this fucking peppermint? No, I don't know. We were like, it's only $100 to fly out here.
We'll just come back.
We don't have any roots that we've put down, so it's not like we can't come back and do exactly the same shit.
I guess that's totally true.
And the intention was to eventually come back at some point. Who knows when or why or how, but it was this is too cool to not come back to.
Yeah.
And I feel like
you're making me want to just go.
I feel like that isn't my favorite decision that I've ever made, but I'm happy with where I ended up. So, like, not the biggest of deals, but to get back to the States, we've got like all this Christmas weed and like all this Tide stick and like fucking, like we want to get rid of it somehow. And it was like, well, we don't want to just give it to somebody. Like, let's fucking party with this shit,
Yeah.
And so we kind of started spreading the word around that we were going to be leaving in like a week or so. And we wanted to have like a big to-do on the last night that we were going to be there. So, we'd arranged to get our flight back, and we knew what day we were going to be leaving. So it was like, well, we're going to be leaving early in the morning on this one day. So let's go mushroom picking the day before. We'll get way too many mushrooms. We'll cook those into a spaghetti sauce.
Nice.
And we're going to buy a bunch of food with like our food stamps.
Yep.
And we'll just have this big feast, the centerpiece of which will be mushroom spaghetti sauce.
Nice.
And people will be able to get high out of their minds because it's going to taste good and it'll help you choke down a bunch of these fucking shrooms.
Yep.
That was the thing about Hawaii shrooms is it's not like here in Oregon where the azure essence will peel your dome off of a couple of fucking stems, Like,
yeah.
You had to eat like a bunch. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like handfuls. So, like, having it be in a food was ideal. And, we ended up getting a bunch of folks to come hang out and made all the food. We were chowing down. Like, everybody was like, oh, I don't know if I should eat more. And we were like, dude, whatever. Like, the heat probably kills half the fucking psilocybin. So, grub down. And, I mean, who cares, right? Like, it's our last night here. Let's get weird. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. And so, I mean, we all ate a lot of mushrooms that night. And at some point, the moon came out, and then it started sprinkling. And one thing that we'd heard about the whole time we were in Hawaii is this phenomenon called moonbow.
Oh.
Which is where there's a full moon, and it's raining in one part of the sky, but it's clear enough that the moon can shine on that rain. And it wasn't like raining. It was like a hard sprinkle, like a bunch of really tiny drops. And at some point, some fucking tripper looks up and goes, holy shit, do you guys see that rainbow? And we look over and I'm like, oh my fucking God, it's a moonbow, you guys. And they're like, holy shit. And Felix like jumps up and starts doing cartwheels and like running around. He's like, am I in the moonbow right now? Come on, you guys. And so like we all just tear our clothes off and start running around in the rain naked, like fucking jumping up and down, making a fucking scene. Like, it was awesome. We were like fucking doing the juggling sticks out there in the rain, like, woo, fucking moonbow. Oh, Jesus. And, after a certain point, we all realized that we were wet and naked and it was nighttime and we should probably calm down a little bit. But,
yeah, totally.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. And, after a little while, like, the mushrooms got a little bit heavy and, like, we had this huge bag of weed. And so we're like, guys, like, keep rolling joints. Seriously, like, we don't want to be just stuck here rolling joints off this bag all night, but we definitely want to smoke all of it. So please, if you have even a single thought of smoking marijuana, come over here and roll a joint so that we can all get high. And at a certain point, we'd like kind of all come back to the tables. There's like this big pavilion there at Baldwin Beach. It's like this roof with a bunch of like a dozen picnic tables under it. Mm-hmm. We were taking up like maybe 4 or 5 of these picnic tables, but still a ton of empty space, and like people kind of spread out. Like some people were just kind of lying down or like just taking it easy. Everybody was high, but it was like kind of low energy because we'd eaten so much food, we'd smoked so much weed. And I just kind of look up from this reverie and I'm like, hey, who's gonna roll a fucking joint? And this guy comes walking over and he's like, pardon me, I'm not trying to intrude on your gathering, but I couldn't help but overhear you inquiring if anyone is going to roll a joint. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I said.
That's about the gist of it, dude.
He's like, well, I know that I don't know you or anyone else here, but I would be happy to roll a joint if that's what you would like me to do. And I said, sir, I would like you to roll as many joints as you can. And he's like, well, okay. How are you guys doing? What's going on? And I'm like, well, I mean, it's probably getting kind of cold, but if you want to get high, we got some mushroom spaghetti. He's like, oh, Jesus, no. No, sir, I am here to smoke a joint and then go to bed, but I really appreciate the offer. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it still stands if you change your mind. And so he ends up rolling like 2 or 3 joints. I get inspired while he's rolling one, and I start putting a bunch of papers together, and I think I rolled like a 6-paper joint or something like that. And like, that got everybody to like sit up and pay attention. 6-paper joint? What? Oh, okay. I guess I'm awake now. I just want to fucking see. Oh, there it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll hit that. And it ended up being a whole thing. And then, like, you know, morning rolls around. We've still got some weed. We've got all this shit. And, like, I think Otter showed up, and he's like, hey, man, you doing anything with that? Oh, no, that's right. This is before then. This is why we had so much weed. Because Otter was like, what are you doing with your fucking food stamps card? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, well, it's still good for a couple of months, right? And I'm like, yeah, probably. And he's like, well, I mean, what do you care, right? You're gone. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, had it.
So, like,
cheers.
Traded him the card for, like, some more weed. And, like, yeah, that's why we had so much left over.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was, oh, fuck, dude. It was such a magical last night. And then we got on the plane.
See, and this is so funny. So this is the difference between fucking 19-year-olds and like 37-year-olds. Because if I plan a going away party, I don't do it the night before I'm leaving. I do it like a couple nights before so that I can like nurse a hangover. I can like chill out for a day before I gotta travel, right? You know? You guys are like, yeah, let's stay up till the sunrise and then hop a plane. I'm like, no, that sounds awful.
Hey man, we're the idiots who thought we'd drop acid and join the Mile High Club.
Right,
so,
right.
You know, us and planes didn't have a great track record. Fuck. I think there was even talk of just eating more mushrooms before we got on the plane. And I think we were just still high.
It seems like the bright idea of a 19-year-old.
Good,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think it was early enough in the morning that it was like, well, we're still high, like whatever, that's fine. Ended up sleeping a little bit on the plane and then waking up in time to see that weird fast forward sunset when you're flying, when you're heading east and the sun's setting. It's like,
yeah,
you know, like really fast. Like you all of a sudden you start getting that sunset light, and then it's like you got 15 minutes, and then it's dark. You know,
right? Totally.
That was kind of trippy. But yeah, ended up back in Santa Cruz, hanging out with Todd, like fucking waiting for Spencer's birthday party, and then we went and did Spencer's birthday, and like I think that was Kat's first rave. Like I ended up on the decks with Spencer, like cutting and scratching Ernie's Imagination song.
Oh, hell yeah.
And, splicing in fucking Star Wars sound bites off of the, like, movie vinyl that he had for Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just kind of the culmination of a lot of years of dreaming.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It was great. You know, I don't regret coming back. I believe that there is an alternate timeline where I did just get a job dishwashing at Charlie's and ended up growing weed with Guy and fucking, you know, just eating poke and like surfing the rest of my days. But
yeah, so I have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys had the food stamp card, but like before that, did you do much living off the land? Did you guys fish at all? Did you guys pick fruit at all? Like that sort of stuff?
No, and like this is the thing is we were really naive when we first started out.
Yeah.
Like, we had, you know, the homeless folks at Aunt Sally's telling us, fuck it, just live out in the woods, there's fruit trees. And we were like, well, okay, I mean, whatever, Santa Claus, like that's not where we're at.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we were doing shit like going to Burger King and ordering a Whopper our way, which was no meat.
Wait, so just a bun and some fucking cruddy veggies and some condiments?
Yep.
Sick.
And it was like 50 cents or something. So like, or
Sure.
like $1.50 or something like that. Like, because they prorated the cost of the meat.
Oh, they actually would cut you a deal if
Yeah.
you didn't get the meat.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, this is back during their whole, like, have it your way promotion. Like,
Right.
where you could literally order whatever the fuck you wanted.
Right.
And so, yeah, it was just like, I want a Whopper with no meat. And they'd be like, well, okay, I will give you a bun with some ketchup and pickles. Like,
Right?
why don't you think about what's going on with your life?
Seriously, right? Like, come on, there's got to be a better way to do this vegetarian thing.
It was, I don't know. It was pretty weak. Like, I don't even think we had a fucking cooler at first. Like, it was real fucking grab and go, fucking stupid bullshit.
Well, you guys had no fucking clue.
No.
I mean, you guys bought a ticket and just went out there.
Exactly. And I mean, I'd been out of my parents' house for like a year at this point or something like that.
Yeah.
I was very ill prepared to take care of
and
myself.
Right. And you had a buddy out there, but they weren't going to show up until much later to kind of even...
He was there for like a week.
Right. Also, he lived there, so he wasn't really going to show you the ropes on like living out in the fucking...
No, he grew up in a nice house in
Right.
Haku,
Right.
It's not like he knew anything about it.
Yeah, so you guys really just winged it and fucking didn't die.
Yeah, well, I mean, we owe a lot of our success to our community, meeting those traveler kids right off the jump. And I mean, it didn't hurt that, like, we were waving our freak flags as fucking hard and heavy as we could. Like,
right.
I'm wearing rainbow colored tie-dye and fucking Jinkos. Like,
yeah.
Got a big blonde ponytail. I'm not sure there are many illusions about where my allegiances lie.
Right,
like,
totally.
I think those kids were probably like, Jesus, we better fucking say what's up to these guys before they end up in a bad spot, Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah, you're just card-carrying hippies at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like, got these big fucking hiking backpacks on. Like, everybody knew what we were up to,
Yeah. Right on. Man, that's fucking cool. That sounds like a hell of an adventure.
It was, man. And the thing is, it's changed a lot,
Yeah.
and like... there is no more wet side and dry side.
Right.
I imagine that places to camp are fewer and further between now because the beaches are actually really highly populated now. It's not like it was back then where, like, most of the week the beaches are empty and then on the weekends, like, you'll see people in this one part of the beach, but that's it because that's, like, the good part. Right. Now it's like, oh, the good part's full. Fuck, let's go over to this part. Oh, that part's full. Well, let's go further down. It's like the beaches are just full now. So it is a little trickier, but that doesn't mean you can't do it anymore. Like, sure. And there's not only are there kids still doing it, but there have been kids doing it the whole time. Like before I was there, after I was there.
Yeah.
Like it's still a time-honored tradition of being a fucking beach bum.
Just being a hippie on the beach. Yeah.
And, for a little while, like I was saying, there was a fucking compound where they were, like, doing some hippie Breaking Bad kind of shit. Like, potentially even some, like, really low-to-the-ground kind of manufacturing kind of shit.
Whoa, wild.
Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, and this is a pretty salient point, is that the pineapple fields, they're there. Like, you can see pineapples growing, and it looks like you could just walk over and grab one. There's a $500 fine for taking a pineapple from the pineapple fields.
No shit.
So if you want to do it, you got to do it at dawn.
Huh.
You got to be real sneaky.
No shit.
And I tell you what, nothing tastes better than a stolen pineapple.
Yeah, than a $500 fucking... Yeah, dude. Holy shit. That's crazy.
But I mean, dude, a fucking ripe pineapple off the plant?
Yeah.
There's nothing finer.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds real good. So in your little, like, camp area, because it sounds like you guys just sort of carved out, like, the little hippie chunk of the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever catch any guff from any other, like, tourists, cops, or otherwise?
Oh, yeah, in fact, that definitely bears mentioning. I'm surprised we didn't get to that. I kept trying to just skip to the party fucking stories. But, yeah, and in fact, we actually encountered the cops a couple of times, both in Paia and in Lahaina. And our strategy both of those times, because we were coming back to camp and there were cops there, was to just turn around and leave and come back later.
Yeah.
Because what they would do is they would try to roust people from their tents, and then they would say, okay, you got to pack up and leave. And they would stand there and wait until you had packed up and left. And then once there was nobody actually there, they would leave whatever tents were still standing alone, because they didn't know who owned them, and they're not going to try to like destroy someone's property, because it's not illegal for them to camp there.
Right. And it could have been a tourist.
No, it could have been Hawaiian.
Oh.
Which is like, that's a protected right of theirs.
Right,
so
right.
they can't fuck with any unoccupied tents, because they don't know who's in it. If it's a tourist, yeah, they're going to ask them to leave. Because what are they going to do? They're not fucking residents.
Yeah, I see.
They don't fucking pay your salary. They don't vote for the elected officials that you're serving.
Right.
So they would absolutely fuck with tourists, even if it was illegal, because what are they going to do?
Right.
Especially if they're fucking just hippie traveler kids, right?
So they would just make you leave just because, like, they could?
Yep.
Just to, like, get
exactly.
you to fucking move?
Yep. And you could just come back later that day and they couldn't do anything about it.
Right, totally.
But we always got up early enough, and it wasn't because we were, like, fucking, fastidious or anything. It was just that we weren't drinking a lot.
Yeah.
So it was easy to get up early in the morning and, like, go into town. And... most of the time we wanted to like get our hustle on or like go eat,
Right,
like,
right.
And so, and you're living in a fucking tent. It's not like you can stay in there much past sunrise because it starts warming up and gets all fucking stuffy. So,
Right.
Well, our tent was just for sleeping in, and we kind of had adapted our sleep cycle to being, not too much past nighttime, unless we were partying. So,
yeah, totally.
But yeah, cool. Like it happened all the time that the cops would come in and like do a sweep, but we were never there for
roused everyone. Yeah. Wow, right on.
And if we came back during one, and just pretend we were fucking innocent beach goers who didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Just keep walking down the beach.
Pay no mind to the Jenkos.
Yeah, exactly.
We have nothing to do.
Oh, yes, we were making a beeline for this tent until we saw you, officer, but we were really just walking down the beach.
Yep.
But they never even talked to us. The only time that we actually encountered a police officer was when we got rousted from hitchhiking on Christmas.
Yeah, okay. Wild. Wow. Yeah, that just sounds like a dream then, Just kind of fucking do whatever you want.
Yeah, pretty much, man.
That's cool as hell.
Mushrooms grow wild, fruit grows wild. It's going to be really hard to not find weed.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking A, man.
If you've got a pointy stick, you could probably catch a fish.
You still have friends out there, right?
Oh, yeah. And in fact, like, just went back, a year ago. And,
yeah.
Fuck. I had an opportunity to go again this year, but just the stars did not.
Yeah, dude. Otter's the mayor. No.
No, it's funny. I bumped into Otter again in Eugene. And no, in fact, I bumped into Otter again at the gathering in Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
After I'd eaten half an ounce of mushrooms with a head full of acid and Molly.
Yeah.
He was like, "How are you, dude?" And I'm like, "You don't even know." Like, tried to explain it to him. And he's like, "That's amazing. Let's go fucking party." And I'm like, "No, we're leaving." And he's like, "No, there's no way you're leaving right now." And I was like, "Yeah, Jessica, Jason, this, that, and the other." And he was like, "Dude, fuck those guys. Come with us." And I'm like,
"Oh, shit.
Oh, man. I would love to, but I'm going to stick to the plan." And he's like, "Well, whatever." And ended up bumping into him again in Eugene. And at that point, I wasn't with Jessica anymore, and I think that was kind of a mark against me in his mind, because I think he was more into Jessica than me.
Oh, yeah.
And then, he was like, "Yeah, you should come get some weed." And I was like, "Yeah, I like weed. I would love to have another connection." And my roommate gave me a ride over there, and I'm pretty sure he didn't like my roommate, and that was pretty much
that
relationship with Otter.
Huh.
But
wild.
It was kind of cool to make that connection again.
Yeah, it's funny that he ended up in Eugene. I mean, it's not that weird, but it's just kind of funny.
And in fact, that was another strange thing is I first found out about the Oregon-Hawaii connection when I was going to school in Ashland. Mm-hmm. And there was just a shitload of people from Hawaii going there. And I was like, "What's the deal?" And they're like, "Oh, there's this weird connection with Oregon and Hawaii." And I'm like, "Okay, can you explain that?" And they're like, Well, it's just, like people in Oregon are super friendly, and like most people out here aren't fake, and that's really huge with Hawaiians.
Yeah.
You like, if you're friendly and you're not fake, then we're probably going to get along with you. And like, I mean, that kind of explains a lot of my interactions here in Oregon is, the friendly people who aren't fake.
Yeah.
And apparently there is also that same connection with Wisconsin, and it's kind of like this weird Oregon, Hawaii, Wisconsin triangle where like genuine people who aren't dicks like to hang out with other people who aren't
That's
fake.
funny. That's good to know that there's a Wisconsin connection.
Oh yeah. No, and I noticed it in Oregon, like, because I just had all these fucking friends moving out from Wisconsin who were just cool people. And then in Hawaii, a ton of the travelers that we were meeting were all from Wisconsin.
Huh.
It was
Wild.
weird. Yeah.
Wild. All right, man. Well, let's fucking go. You got to take me sometime.
I'm down, dude.
I want to go really bad.
I don't know how to get $100 plane tickets anymore. 9/11 kind of fucked that up. But,
yeah, totally, man. I'm sure a number of things fucked that up.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, let's figure it out.
Yeah, what we got to do is when we like do these flights for these fucking magic events that we're going to, like, we need to start earning frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, I know.
So
well, and more. Like I do. I mean, I have an account with like Southwest. I think I could probably get like a better credit card or something. I could probably get on something that earns
that's
more
the secret
miles.
is,
but I don't
like
even
the cards that earn miles. Well, yeah, I know, but
like, even flying to like one tournament or two tournaments a year doesn't earn enough miles to get. I don't know. Maybe it does over time. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but I'm just saying, like, we've got to find a way to get out there for cheap because it's so great.
Yes, totally.
It's fucking wonderful.
Well, I'll do a little research. There's got to be someone who does some sales. Southwest does sales.
Hell yeah.
And you can get like $50 tickets to a number of places.
No shit.
Not Hawaii, but a number of places. And there's got to be something. So
hell yeah.
We'll look into it. But yeah. Take me.
Yeah, dude. And I'm saying, and like, now we're not trying to like fucking go eat mushrooms naked on the beach with a bunch of hippies, but like,
not trying to. No, yeah, no,
I'm
totally.
just saying, like, it doesn't matter. Like, dude, even if you're just drinking beer on the beach for a day.
No, that's what I want to do. And like I want to like hike these fucking magical pools, these 7 magical pools, dude. And like see some waterfalls and see some fucking
forest and shit
like that. Yeah, dude.
I'm saying it's worth it, man.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth it. And like Kauai is amazing. The Big Island is apparently like really where it's at. But I still have this.
Is it really?
I mean,
do people really think that? I could.
I mean, there's like 12 distinct biomes there, like
okay. I mean, I guess it's bigger.
Bunch of cool natural diversity, but for my money, it's like everything that you need is on Maui.
Hell yeah!
And you can get anywhere on the island. Like you can go to fucking Hana and back in a day. Like it.
Right.
It's small enough that you can get around all over the place. Without having to do too much traveling, and like. That's kind of perfect for me.
That's cool.
It's not that I'm necessarily planning on living there necessarily, but I could think of a lot worse places to go.
Dude, seriously, man. Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. Well, anyway, at least got to visit there. Yeah, and like, yeah, let's just call it here. We'll continue off mic. I've got some shit to talk about.
Fair. But yeah, to our listeners at home, if we end up doing this podcast from Maui at some point, don't be surprised.
Seriously, dude. Oh my God. Maybe in like 2 years. Because I get a nice little break from work. So
yeah, boy.
I'm trying to piece together what I'm going to do with that little break.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right. Killa.